screen to change.
Oh, look at that. Hang on one second. All right, I just started the recording. Give me a second for the recording to start. And we are now live. I'm going to go ahead and show my screen. And Caren, take it away.
So today you are about to discover how to tap into the power of virtual assistants and gain more free time, massively increase profits, and reduce expenses up to 67%. Did you hear that? 67%. And we're going to do that all today with my good friend Michael Hellickson. He's awesome. He began his career as a real estate agent in 1991 and eventually literally becoming the nation's #1 real estate agent. During his career, Michael has spoken and coached thousands of students in organizations nationwide, and he has also been featured on several national television and radio programs, including Glenn Beck, CNBC, The Dave Ramsey Show. I love Dave Ramsey. And the Fox Business Network, among many other local and regional programs. But since then, he has become the founder and president of Virtual Assistant Staffing, the world's leading headhunting agency specializing in helping businesses find, hire, and train top talent from around the globe so that you can save up to 67% over local employees. So if you don't have an assistant, what Michael likes to say is you are one. And so it is a great pleasure to introduce all of you and to promote your passion family to my good friend, Michael Hellickson. Take it away.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that completely spontaneous and wonderful introduction. That was awesome. Seriously though, Caren, thank you very much for having me today. And it is really, truly an honor. I got to tell you, Caren is very well respected in our community. And I got to tell you, just being here with you folks tells me that I've got to fill some very, very big shoes today. So we're going to get started right away. I want you to know, first of all, that we're going to be doing a lot of content today. This is not a sell fest. In fact, I'm not going to sell you anything today at all, nothing. We're going to talk about content. We're going to talk about virtual assistants from the ground up. I'm going to take it from the foundation on up and really give everything to you. So please make sure you've got a pen and paper handy to take notes. Try and get rid of any distractions if you've got any nearby so that you can pay really close attention. And if you have questions, there is a question pane in your toolbar there, and you can just type in your questions there, and we'll at the end we're going to leave a few minutes to go through all those questions, and Caren will moderate that for us. So anyway, let's just get right into it. Let's start with this. What is a virtual assistant? Ultimately, a virtual assistant is anyone who performs work for you from a location other than your own. Now, I want you to think about this. The person across the street from you could be a virtual assistant working for you, right? Or the person from another town, or someone from another state, or someone from another country could be a virtual assistant for you. So literally anyone that performs work for you from a location other than your own is considered a virtual assistant. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you why top businesses hire virtual assistants and why you should too. I mean, if you think about it, the Fortune 500 have been hiring virtual assistants for literally decades. And now this has become a possibility. Just in about the last 5 years, it's really become a lot easier for mainstream mom and pop local businesses, small business entrepreneurs to be able to hire virtual assistants just like Fortune 500 companies do. So I'm going to show you how to do that. We're also hopefully going to change your perception of virtual assistants forever. One thing that you need to understand is virtual assistants aren't only capable of low-level tasks. Virtual assistants are incredibly capable of amazing tasks. I mean, literally, if you called me today and said, Michael, I need a nuclear physicist, I could probably get you a nuclear physicist from another part of the world. It's no joke. I mean, literally, they can do things that would blow your mind, and I'm hopefully going to help you. If you'll open your mind today, I'll be able to help you change your perception of virtual assistants forever. We're going to talk about how to find the right VA. Now, I'm not going to say, oh, you've got to hire my company to find the right VA. I'm going to actually show you how you can do it yourself. Now, if you'd like to hire our company, that's fine too. That's all right. But I truly am going to teach you today how, if you want to go out and do this on your own, you can absolutely do it on your own. And we're also going to talk about how to tell if and when you're ready for a virtual assistant. Nothing's worse than well, the only thing worse than not having enough help is getting help too soon that's the wrong help. And so, you want to make sure you get the right help at the right time for the right reasons and in the right position in your company. We're going to talk about all of those things today. And I'm going to show you how you can test drive a virtual assistant absolutely free. So with that said, let's roll right into it. Let me first share with you a little bit about my story. I'm going to share with you how I went from being kind of a lone ranger, the solopreneur as a lot of people call it, to becoming a world-class team builder, and more importantly, how you can too. So I always tell people that I'm a recovering real estate agent. I started selling real estate it's about 22 years ago. And during my first couple of years, my parents said, gosh, Michael, you should go get a job at McDonald's because, you'd make more money than you are now. And I was thinking, gosh, I'm the top agent in my office. So, I'm making all this money. But the reality was when I looked at my profit and loss, I was broke. I really wasn't making any money. I was barely getting by. And my parents were right. And it scared me. And I thought, I'm not going to concede defeat here. I'm not going to go down easily here. And so I thought, I'm going to do the smart thing. I'm going to go get educated. And I did exactly what you guys have done with Caren. I went out and I found the expert in my industry. I found the expert that I knew could help me take my business to that next level. And I went to one of their seminars. And in that seminar, he said the words that changed my life forever. He says, if you don't have an assistant, you are one. And I got to tell you, this hit me like a ton of bricks. Because, I didn't have an assistant, obviously, at this point in my career. And I realized that, he was right. Caren, let me ask you this. As you hear that phrase, what does that say to you? What do you think when you hear me say, if you don't have an assistant, you are one?
That you are doing all sorts of things that are not a good use of your time.
That's exactly right. Think about it. There's a lot of tasks that an assistant can and should be doing so that you can be focused on the highest dollar producing activities. Thing is, doing data entry is not a good use of your time, is it? I can't think of a single business owner in the world whose time is best spent doing data entry. Now, obviously, that's a very low-level task, but I'm using that because it's probably the simplest task to use as an example. But there's all kinds of tasks like that. And in reality, I've heard it said best this way. If it's possible to hire someone for less than your hourly rate to do the things that need to be done in your business, it's a good expenditure. In other words, if you bill out at $50 an hour and you can find somebody to do this work for you for $5, $10, $20, $25 an hour, whatever it is that less than what you're making? Absolutely. So it's a good expenditure in most cases. The key is you want to make sure that you're focusing your time, effort, energy on the most important tasks. Well, let me tell you, after I heard him say this, I went back kind of with my tail between my legs, but at the same time I was energized and I was invigorated, and I said, you know what? I can do this. I can do this in my market. I can do this now in this economy, and I can do it. I know I can go out and I can hire staff and I can really grow my business. So I did. And by the way, I was scared to death because I had to make an agreement. This girl that I was going to hire, the first assistant that I decided to hire, I was going to have to pay her more money than I had ever made in a single year in my life. I had no idea how I was going to do that, but I will tell you this. I had a credit card, and I knew how to use it. Scary, huh? Well, let me tell you, I'm not advocating that you take that approach to it, but I will say that it was the best thing I ever did. And by that, I mean the following. She came to work for me, and not only did she help me grow our company to over 44 employees, she also, 4 years later, became my wife, which is a story in and of itself. But Caren, I always like to tell people that when she became my wife, that's the day I went to work for her. Have you ever heard the phrase that any man that says he wears the pants in the family probably lies about other things too?
Yes, I have.
That's how it works at our house. So I'm married to a saint. I got to tell you, she's a great woman. Super, just awesome in every way. I just love my wife. She's terrific. But, as a business partner, not even just as a wife, as a business partner, she's amazing. And, literally took that company to 44 employees with me, doing just about $450,000 in gross income every month, but just over $100,000 in net. Just awesome, right? Just a super woman. And raised wonderful kids at the same time. Well, I looked at this, and these numbers all sound great, right? And it was making all this money, and yeah, that's all fine and good. But here's the problem: I looked at my profit and loss, and I realized I was spending $125,000 a month on my payroll. Now that's an eye opener, and I didn't know what to do. I thought, this is ridiculous. Something's got to change here. I got to find a more efficient way to work. I got to cut. Somehow I got to get rid of some of this employee expense. And so I started talking to all my friends around the country that had big offices, and they started suggesting, hey, Michael, you need to look at virtual assistants and consider hiring virtual assistants. And I thought, all right, well, I was really skeptical. I mean, I had no idea how would I hire these people, how would I find them, how would I interview them, how would I train them, how would I hold them accountable. I mean, I had more questions than answers. I had no idea how I was going to do any of this stuff. But I reluctantly, I said, you know what, fine, I'm going to do it. So reluctantly, I went out and I hired my first virtual assistant. I'm going to be honest with you. I kind of hoped, I kind of wanted it to fail because I wanted to be able to go back to my buddies and say, yeah, all right, whatever. I did it. It didn't work. And give me another idea. But unfortunately, or fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, it actually went fabulously well. And this first virtual assistant did a great job. Relieved pressure off of my staff in an area that we really needed to relieve some pressure, and went so well, in fact, that my wife and my office manager both came to me within a couple of weeks saying, hey, Michael, guess what? We want VAs now too. And so all of a sudden I went out and hired 2 more. And I'm going to be honest, out of those first 3, 2 of them were rock stars. They did a great job. We kept them for a long time. One of them still works for me today. And absolutely phenomenal experience with both of them. One of them was not a great experience. Now, let me ask you this. Karen, if you had an employee here in the U.S. and you had to fire them, how does that normally go? Is that kind of a big deal? Are there challenges associated with firing somebody in the U.S.?
Well, yeah, you have to make sure you have a paper trail. You have to make sure that you've done due diligence and that you had rules and policies that are in place. So it's a challenge.
Now, you're right about all those things. Now, here's the big question. Why are those things so important?
To protect everyone, I would assume.
Because what can happen?
You get sued.
That's right. You can get sued by the employee. They can go to the state and they can say, hey, by the way, I worked all this overtime that they may or may not have worked. And all of a sudden now the state says, oh, no, we're going to side with the employee and you're going to have to pay all this overtime that maybe, in fact, they didn't even work. They could say, I was wrongfully terminated. There's all kinds of ways they can make your life miserable. And or they could say, oh, I was paid on a 1099 and I should have been on a W-2. Oh, my gosh, that's a really big one there. That happens all the time. And so long story short, there's a lot of things they can do to make your life difficult. So when I had this VA, my third VA, the first 2, again, were great. That third one was not great. And I was thinking about, okay, well, now I got to fire this person. I was thinking, okay, I got to build a case. I could do this. I could do that. And then I realized, hey, wait a minute. No, I don't. I just got to send her an email. Hey, you're fired. I felt like Donald Trump. It was awesome. You're fired. And literally it was that simple. I said, your services are no longer required. We'll send you your last payment. And that was the last I heard from her. It was great. And guess what? I didn't have backlash in my office. I didn't have the gossip pool. Oh my gosh, Michael's such a bad guy. I can't believe he fired Susie. She's got 2 kids and blah, blah, blah. They don't realize Susie was stealing from the company under the table, right? And that wasn't happening with the VA. I'm just saying that could happen with a typical employee. They're stealing time or they're whatever. And the employees, they don't see that. All they see is that you're the big bad boss that fired their friend. Well, it didn't happen like that with this VA. It was awesome. It was easy. All I had to do was just send her the notice and let her go. And guess what? After that, I replaced her. I got a different one. And guess what? The next one was fantastic. And man, I got to tell you, this is what charged me up. And I started looking at it. I was saving money. I had less headache, less drama. I started looking around the office and I started painting targets on everybody. And I just thought, what else can I take virtual? What's next? What other positions are appropriate to go with virtual assistants? And literally, eventually, I took my entire office virtual. Now, this is huge on many levels. I'm going to show you how in a minute. One of which is just the sheer cost of employees. I went from spending $125,000 a month on employees to just about $40,000 using VAs. That's a savings of 68% on my payroll, or $85,000 a month. This is huge. I didn't have to sell another house to get that money. I didn't have to do another transaction. I didn't have to do anything it just happened. All of a sudden, I was making an extra $85,000 a month. Crazy, huh? That's just where the savings began. So the savings on employees were the obvious, right? The wages and the salaries, the employment taxes, the Social Security, Medicare, no more labor and industries, no more workers' comp, no more office chit-chat. Oh, and here's a good one for you. No more office drama. Caren, do you think when you get 44 people in a room together, there's drama?
I think there's more than drama. It's probably a whole freaking play.
It's crazy. I mean, I tell you, I'm going to say this. In fairness to my team, I had a phenomenal team. Even my local team, I had a phenomenal team. Great people. It doesn't matter how great the people are. When you put 40 people in that close of proximity together with one another, you're going to have drama. It's just going to happen. People are people. That's the way it is. Would you agree, Caren?
I agree 100%.
Yeah. So, well, let me tell you, that's just where the savings began. Now we started taking a look at it, and we figured out we could get rid of the office because I didn't have any employees anymore, right? So, not local. They were all virtual assistants. So now I didn't have to have the actual office space. So no more long-term leases, no more triple nets, no more insurance, no more telephone, internet, office equipment, no more copiers, computers, desks, chairs, plants, cubicles, lights, toilet paper. I didn't have any of those expenses anymore. You start adding that up, that was as big a savings as the savings on the actual hourly rates that I was paying on the employees and the actual employee expense. Let me tell you, this was huge for my business, and it took us from being profitable to being ridiculously profitable in a very short amount of time. So huge. I can't even imagine running a business locally anymore. I love running my business entirely virtual. And so, in fact, that worked out so well for me. That's about the same time when, circumstances in my life, kind of the stars kind of aligned, if you will, and God kind of opened up that opportunity for me to go and literally get out of selling real estate and focus 100% on helping people find and hire and train and support their virtual assistants. And I got to tell you, absolutely a game changer for my life. And now, instead of working 7 days a week as a real estate agent, pounding away, getting calls day and night, from people wanting this, that, and the other, now I work a 3-day week. I spend 4 days a week with my amazing wife and 2 wonderful kids. And my quality of life has never, ever, ever been better. Absolutely never. So let me talk for a moment. And by the way, before I do, Caren, did you have anything you wanted to add to the whole, transferring from, physical office to becoming a virtual company?
Well, I just think it's the only way to be. I mean, I as you know, Michael, we use VAs. That's the way to get stuff done, and it frees you up, and it takes away all the drama. So I totally get this, and I do believe that entrepreneurs and home-based business people in particular really can benefit by this.
It's huge. And the nice thing is, I'll tell you, you might be the Lone Ranger right now. If you're a solopreneur, if it's just you and your business, as you build your team, do it right from the very beginning. Do it virtually from day one, because here's another thing that virtual allows you to do. You can do your business from anywhere in the world at that point. You're not tied to a location, and you have a lot more control of your business, and your stress level, believe me, is much, 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 much lower. You have a lot less stress when you're operating virtually than you do when you're operating in a physical location. So, huge stuff. All right. Well, let's keep moving forward for a moment, and let's talk about the VAs themselves. VAs, they come in all shapes and sizes. Their backgrounds vary, their skill sets vary, their pay ranges vary tremendously. I mean, there's VAs out there for as little as $2 an hour, and there's VAs out there for as much as $70 an hour. You got to ask yourself, what do I want? What am I looking for? And you got to decide what's reasonable for you. One of the things that has a big impact on pay range is if you're hiring globally or if you're hiring solely in the United States. Those that hire globally save a ton of money. Now, I'm not saying you have to only hire globally. You can certainly hire just in the U.S. as well if you'd like, but you need to be prepared that you're going to spend 2 to 3 times as much, generally speaking, in the States as you would hiring overseas, for example. Also, you want to take a look at, am I going to hire for a long-term position, or am I hiring for just a project? And generally speaking, when you hire a virtual assistant on a long-term basis, you get lower rates than you do if you're hiring them as just a project person. And so whenever you can provide regular, consistent, ongoing, long-term work for this person, they're going to be more motivated to give you better rates. They're going to spend more time on your stuff. They're going to work harder for you. They're going to develop a relationship with you. Obviously, I'm a long-term thinker in every part of my life. I really do believe that you want to be thinking long-term and not just, okay, how can I get this done today? And all I care about is today. So quality versus price is huge. Now, there are, like I said, a lot of VAs out there that you can get for as little as, $2 to $4 an hour. I don't hire those VAs. I don't think you should either. Personally, I'm a real believer that you really do get what you pay for. I've always been a believer that I don't go to the Walmart type VAs. I really go and I look for the Nordstrom's quality VAs. I want very skilled people that are going to be on my team for a long time, people that are going to enhance the value to my company, people who are going to kind of emotionally take an ownership interest in my company and really become a full and complete part of my company and where we're going, and understand our vision and our goals and what drives us. And you pay a little extra for that kind of person, but you know what? It's worth it. It is absolutely worth paying what it takes to get the very, very best people on your team. And I always try and find people smarter than me at whatever it is they do. So if I'm looking for a web developer, I want a web developer that knows more about the web than I do, and about programming and about developing software and all this stuff. If I'm hiring a telemarketer, I want to hire somebody that's better on the phone than I am. I always look to hire people that are really, really experts at what they do, and I segregate that workflow. So let's talk a little bit about what VAs can do. What are actually some of the skills virtual assistants can do? Well, again, remember, anything that doesn't require physical presence in your office can be done by a virtual assistant. Things like listing and transaction coordinators for real estate agents, very common. Bookkeeping, and let me tell you, this is one of my personal favorites. I love my bookkeepers. I used to have 4 bookkeepers in my local office. Now I have 1 bookkeeper in the Philippines, and I love her. We've automated everything we can automate, and we've taken everything else and we've managed to get it done by 1 bookkeeper who's in the Philippines. She does a great job. All my information is secure. Here's the cool part. We take all our bank statements and our bills and all that stuff, and I say we, I really mean my wife. Takes all that information, and she just scans it into the computer and emails it. Actually, she stuffs it in Dropbox, which we'll talk about later, but emails it or Dropboxes it to our virtual assistant. Our virtual assistant goes in, she grabs that information, does all the reconciliations, takes care of posting all the bills. Then she gets all the checks prepared. She'll call my wife up and she'll say, "Hey, Tara, stick the checks in the printer and hit print." My wife grabs the checks, sticks them in the printer, hits print, brings me the checks for my signature, and we're done. I mean, holy cow, how easy is that? And my P&L is up to date all the time. It's super secure. I don't have to worry about, theft or any of that kind of stuff. I mean, it's more secure. It's far more secure than if I had somebody in my local office doing it. It's awesome. Receptionists, another big position. That's another one we do a lot. Telemarketers and appointment setters. Let me tell you, this is a position that will make a gigantic difference in your company. Usually people are going to hire their executive assistant. It's going to be their first virtual assistant hire, and their second hire is usually a telemarketer or an appointment setter. And I got to give me an example. My schedule now, I told you earlier, I work a 3-day week. The way I'm able to accomplish that is I have an assistant who does nothing but sets appointments for me all day long. So when I roll into the office, and I work from home, right? So when I say roll into the office, I mean when I make the commute from my master bath to upstairs, I literally walk in and I have 22 to 24 appointments, depending on if I'm working an 11 or a 12-hour day, because I'll usually do 11-hour days 3 days a week. It just works for my lifestyle. I like it because I don't have a commute. I'm able to spend that time actually being effective at work, instead of being on the road trying to get to work or back from work. And so all these appointments are preset for me. So literally every half hour, on the half hour, I have another call with someone who's ready, willing, able, and anxious to talk to me about what it is we do. And I do that 3 days a week, and then the rest of the week and over the weekend, I don't have to worry about business because it's being taken care of because I've got a team helping me do that. And I would not be able to do that. I would not be able to accomplish that if I didn't have my appointments that are setting those appointments for me. It's phenomenal. It just makes us hugely effective. SEO is another one. This is a very low-level task. It's very easy to have a virtual assistant do that for you. And by the way, we have a question from Kelly Foreman, who is asking, can you have your QuickBooks online? And yes, that is exactly how we do it. We have QuickBooks online. I think it's like $15 a month. It's really inexpensive. And my virtual assistant's able to access that and does all the work in there and then just tells us, okay, your stuff's ready, your profit and loss is ready, go ahead and print it out and blah, 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 blah. It's awesome. I got to tell you, super efficient. Blogging, another easy task for virtual assistants. Social media, website design and development, client care coordinator, research, data entry, managing your client relationship management software, checking and handling your emails and your voicemails. Now, I want to talk about this one real quick. Caren, quick question for you. How many hours a day do you suppose, and I'd love to see, everybody do me a favor and type this in. I want to see what you all think. How many hours a day do you spend doing emails and voicemails? Type your answers in. How many hours a day do you spend checking your emails, checking your voicemails, and all that good stuff? I love it. Susan's being super honest all day long. I love it. Thank you for that, Susan. That's good stuff. And I'm getting all kinds of other answers. So keep typing them in. I love it. They're all coming in. Yep, I'm seeing a couple hours. A lot of people saying 2 to 3 hours. Here's one that's 4 hours. Let me tell you, the average, you guys want to hear? And by the way, Caren, are you still there?
I'm here.
What do you think?
I'm afraid to tell you how long.
What do you think?
I'm constantly.
What's that?
Yeah, I'm all day long. I'm constantly returning emails to the point that the email comes in and I'm pushing the button to send it back before it even has completely arrived in my email.
So how many hours, if you aggregated it into a very concise number of hours, how many hours do you actually spend, or do you think that you actually spend just doing emails and voicemails and nothing else?
I think probably around 6 hours a day.
That's probably not uncommon. And so I'll tell you what, the average that we've heard across the board from everybody when we've done webinars and events and all this stuff, we're hearing 3 hours on average for checking and handling emails and voicemails. Now I want you to think about this. A third of the emails and voicemails you get are absolute junk and just need to be deleted, right? Then you've got the top third, which are things that you and only you can deal with. Then you've got the middle third, which are things that a well-trained virtual assistant could handle for you. So in essence, you've got 2/3 of your emails that literally could be handled by a virtual assistant, saving you as much as 2 hours a day. So if all your virtual assistant could do for you was check your emails and voicemails, you could free up literally 2 hours a day. Caren, what could you do with an extra 2 hours a day?
Book another event.
Wouldn't that be huge?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
What would you guys, I want you guys to type this in. Type it into your screen real quick. I want to see, what would you do with an extra 2 hours every day? What would you do, whether it's business, personal, whatever it is? What would you do if you had an extra 2 hours a day? Type that into your questions box there. I'm very curious to see what some people would do with that extra time. I'm seeing one person said that I would do more prospecting, more, and I'm assuming what they mean by that is making, calling more people and looking for more business. Here's a good one. Sleep. That's awesome. I love it. More sales and thinking about growing my business. That's huge. And Rick, one of the things I love about what you just said there, when you say thinking about growing my business, that's huge because that tells me you're working on your business and not just in your business, because how often do we all get caught up in that hamster wheel and all we're doing is working in our business and we don't take the time to work on our business. And working on your business is so important. That's one of the things I do on Thursdays, when my kids are in school. It's my day off, right? So when my kids are in school, I'll literally on Thursdays, I'll spend that time working on my business. Be able to learn more in other areas of running a business. That's a great one. Thank you, Susan, for that. Ultimately, there's a lot you can do with an extra 2 hours a day. We all could. So what about this? Managing your calendar, booking your flights, your hotel, calling you every morning and programming your brain for success. As crazy as that sounds, let me tell you, one of the things I look forward to every morning, my assistant Marion, and Caren, you've talked to Marion, I believe, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. By the way, what did you think? Does she have a really hard to understand accent? Is she difficult to understand?
Not at all. Not at all. Very easy to understand.
Perfect English, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's funny because most people think she's from the States, but she's actually from the Philippines. In fact, she's the former Miss Philippines. She's actually really cool. That's I think that's why she's got so much poise and character, and she's just very well put together, right? She's just very confident and self-assured, and I love her. She's a great assistant. But here's what I love most about her. Every morning when I get on my computer, I see a Skype message from Marion, and it's always got a big smiley face, and it's always, "Good morning, Michael. How the heck are you today? Oh, it's going to be such a great day. I'm so excited to get stuff done today," and blah, blah, blah. I mean, she's just always upbeat and positive, and it really helps me get my day off to the right start. I love it. So what about this? Chief Financial Officer, Project Director, Transcriptionist, Graphics Designers, teaching your kids to play an instrument. Yes, this can be done remotely as well. In fact, we're getting ready right now. My kids are going to be taking Spanish lessons from a virtual assistant. Creating full motion animated videos, teaching any language. There's just all these different things. So you got to ask yourself, what would you use a VA for? In fact, try and stump me. What would you use a virtual assistant for? I would love to know. Oh, and you know what? Somebody else asked me, could you get attorneys and paralegals overseas and with virtual assistants? And the answer is yes, absolutely, you can. And by the way, with the bookkeeper, did I tell you? Somebody's asking about price. Did I tell you already, or I don't think I have. What do you think? Actually, let me ask this. Caren, what do you think a bookkeeper in the States costs? A really good bookkeeper in the States, what are you going to pay?
Probably anywhere between $50 to $100 an hour.
Absolutely correct. Yep. On the very, very, very low end, maybe 25. But generally speaking, you're going to be $35 to $100 an hour for good bookkeeping in the States. My bookkeeper in the Philippines, $9 an hour. And she's phenomenal. And she's a sweetheart. And we just love working with her. Just absolutely amazing. So good stuff. All right. And somebody asked, well, what would you do if you had an employee overseas and they broke your legal agreement? How would you take legal action against them? Well, the good news is you wouldn't have to because if they broke the agreement that we have with them, we would be all over that. But if you did for some reason decide you wanted to take legal action against a VA, get this. Let's use the Philippines for an example. They don't mess around. It's not like breaking the law in the U.S. Breaking the law in the U.S., it's kind of a joke in a lot of ways because, people don't get punished like they should when they get caught and when they're, get caught dead to rights. In the Philippines, if you get caught breaking the law, not only do you go to jail for a long time, they drag your entire family in there and they embarrass you in front of your family. And that's a bigger deal in that particular country than even just going to jail. And let me tell you, being shamed in front of your family is huge for them. So the fact of the matter is, you'll probably never, ever, ever encounter a situation where you ever have to do that. I've never had a client tell me that they ever had to go after a VA or that they had any kind of a challenge that even rose to that level. That's just very, very unusual. And so I wouldn't even worry about that. So what would you use a VA for? Type some of those things in there. What would you like to use a VA for? What are some crazy out there things you think you could use them for? Well, while you're doing that, let's talk about the truth about VAs. Yes, just like my virtual assistant, Marion, who's my kind of right-hand person, she's my appointment setter, a lot of VAs speak perfect English. In fact, some of our clients, and that's one of the things that we do, we kind of specialize in the higher-end VAs, and we get a lot of requests from people that want someone who speaks perfect English, where they want someone who maybe has a sexy British accent and is going to represent their company really, really well. They're not all from the Philippines or India, by the way. We hire people from all over the world, and you can too. We get them from England, Europe, South Africa, South America, Central America, the Philippines, sometimes India, maybe Pakistan. I mean, we get them from all over the world. It just depends on what skill set we're looking for at the time and where we can best find that skill set. A lot of times they require less management than local staff. Let me tell you why. We use a time tracking software, and you can access this too. Reach out to me, and I'll walk you through how to do it. But ultimately, for as little as $20 a month, I can get my VAs set up on this time tracking software that literally they log in the morning, and they have to be online, and if they step away from their computer for more than 3 minutes, it times them out. It takes screenshots of their computer every 9 minutes that you have access to. You can see it. It literally will alert me if they are late to work, if they didn't work the number of hours they're supposed to work, if they were on websites that they shouldn't be, like Facebook or HannahMontana.com or whatever. It literally sends me an email alert as to that. So, I mean, it practically manages them for me. All I've got to do is task them out and tell them what I want them to do. And all the accountability is taken care of. It's phenomenal. Their work quality a lot of times is superior to local employees. I mean, and here's why. I can figure out exactly what I need, and I have a global marketplace for that now. I'm not reliant on just what I can find in my local area. I can search the entire world now for whatever skill I need at that particular time. So huge, huge, huge stuff. All right, Caren, let me ask you this. Have you ever felt like you were married to your phone or your email? And by the way, everybody also, I'm asking everybody this question, and I'd like you to type in, have you ever felt like that, that you were married to your phone or voicemail when you're on vacation? What do you think, Caren?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I've been accused by my husband that I never, ever have my phone away from me. It's always in front of my face.
Has he ever tried to perform a cell phone-ectomy on you?
He'd like to.
I love it. Well, let me tell you, the number one reason why I love virtual assistants is, here's my favorite quote: no success in the world can compensate for failure in the home. Hey, look, we've all been there, right? We've all been on vacation, married to our cell phone. Our spouse is telling us, hey, get off the phone. You're here with me. Spend time with me. The kids would like a little of your time too, by the way. And, we've all been there. But I got to tell you, when I was able to take my office virtual, I literally got rid of every single person in that local office, and I was able to take it all virtual. And as soon as I did that, I took, no joke, 6 weeks off. I took my family somewhere on vacation. By the way, can anybody tell me what mountain that is in the background? Type it into your screen. What mountain is that in the background? I love it. I'm getting some answers. No, that is not Disneyland, but you're close. It does exist in Disneyland. Caren, do you know what mountain that is?
I don't. Tell me.
Rick's got the answer right. Can anybody besides Rick guess? I'll tell you, Rick, you are 100% correct. That is the Matterhorn in Zermatt, Switzerland. I was able, let me tell you, we took 6 weeks off, and that's Tara and our kids in the picture there with me. We took 6 weeks off. We traveled all over Europe. We stayed in castles and chateaus and villas. It was castles in Germany, chateaus in the south of France, villas in Tuscany. And I got to tell you, everywhere we went, we had the time of our lives. And on that entire trip, for 6 weeks, I didn't check my email. I didn't check my voicemail. I didn't call my office. I disconnected entirely, spent that entire time 1,000% focused on my wonderful family. And guess what? My business grew while I was gone.
Wow.
How cool is that? And I could never have done it without my virtuals.
That's cool. Yeah, that's very cool, Michael.
Isn't that awesome?
I'm having palpitations over here as I'm listening to you say you didn't. But that's way cool. Love that.
But here's the thing, Caren, and Caren, you know this already. I know you know this, but everybody that's on the webinar today can do this too. Everybody can do it. You can accomplish the same thing. You just have to decide what your priority is. You just got to decide what you want to focus your time, effort, and energy on, and you got to ask. And I'll give you an example. I've made millions of dollars, and I've been broke, and I've made millions again, and I have decided that money does not buy happiness. I get that. It's let me tell you, I've been broke and I've been rich, and it's easy to be money can definitely put a smile on your face in some ways, but what I really cherish and what I really value is balance in my life. I like work. I enjoy what I do. I like to earn money, but I want that balance in my life more than anything. I want to have enough money to be able to go spend time with my family and enjoy my family, but I also want to have enough time to actually go and enjoy my family and be with my family. And all of us strike that balance at a different point in our lives and at a different level. The thing that I would encourage everyone on today's webinar to do is find out what that balance is for you. Decide what that means to you and do it. Don't accept anything else. And I'll tell you, this is hard at first. When I first cut my time back to a 3-day week, I was scared to death. My wife was too. She's like, man, how are you going to do that and not go out of business and, work a 3-day week? Really? I mean, come on. And I just did it. One day I just decided, you know what? I'm going to do it. And if I go broke, I go broke. I don't care, because I love my family and I want to spend time with them. And man, it was the best thing I ever did. Absolutely the best thing I did. It forced me to be more effective during those 3 days, forced me to offload, forced me to do 3 things. So first of all, I automated. Everything I could possibly automate, I automated. And then I delegated everything else. And the third thing was I only did the things that I alone needed to be the one doing. And by doing those 3 things in that order, I was able to regain control of my time and of my life. And so, I would encourage you all to do the same. But anyway, Caren, anything on that?
No, I'm right with you, though.
All right. Well, Caren, can I get you to read this testimonial for us from Ken Kellerman?
Absolutely. My virtual assistant is terrific. She saves me money, does a fantastic job, and is invaluable to my business. The process of hiring through virtual assistant staffing was easy, fast, and efficient. With the free trial, I knew I had nothing to lose. I highly recommend this service.
Perfect. And that's Ken Kellerman with Virtual Assistants. With Sales Advantage Group. He's not with our company. Yeah. Ken's actually a real estate agent down in California. He's actually the #1 Fannie Mae agent in Southern California. He runs a big office down there. He's had his virtual assistant for about 1.5 years now. Just gave her a raise about 6 months ago. Loves her. And, man, he is just awesome. And his virtual assistant, if you call his office, you get his virtual assistant. If you're an agent, you need to be explained, hey, how do I write an offer on that property or whatever? She's the one that helps you with that. So, all right, so when should you hire a VA? Now, contrary to what you may think, you're probably all expecting me to say, oh, right now, you got to hire one now. Well, that's not what I'm going to tell you. I really want you to think about this and really go into this with eyes wide open and do it in the right way so that it's sustainable and it provides value to you and your company. So you got to ask yourself, am I ready for growth? Have I experienced attrition? If I've got people on my team, they've left, maybe there was a death or somebody got fired or quit or whatever. If you're feeling overwhelmed, if you just need to save money, when you're ready to take your business to the next level, and most of all, when you can afford one. Now, why am I saying that? Because you don't want to get in over your head with any expenses, staff included. I'm a huge believer in budgeting and living within your means. And by the way, Caren, I remember you said earlier how much you love Dave Ramsey, and I love Dave's principles. He teaches some great principles. And they're really not his principles. They're tried and true principles that have been around forever. But the fact of the matter is you need to live well within your means. And so, make sure that when you hire your VA, that's the same thing. Now, does that mean that you shouldn't engage with us and kind of get to know us and let's, get the conversation started so that when the time's right? No, it's absolutely reach out to us. I'd love to start the conversation. And, when the time is right for you, we can move forward. But right now, you need to be thinking about what is that? What would I have a VA do? When would I like to have them do that? How would that benefit me in my life and my business? So how do you find the right VA? So I told you this wasn't going to be a sales pitch, right? So I'm not going to focus on how you can do it through us. Obviously, you can hire us, but you can also do it yourself. And here's the do-it-yourself method. There's a bunch of websites out there. There's Craigslist, Elance, Fiverr, 99 Designs, Odesk, Guru, Monster. There's job boards. There's all these different websites out there that you can go to. Lots of resources. And you can hire people through these websites. What I would suggest to you is you need to be very careful when you do this. You need to, never shortcut the interviewing process, never shortcut the testing process. And, we actually, when we hire people, I'll tell you, here's our process. You can copy our process and do it yourself if you'd like. But what we do is we go out and we gather, upwards of 400 resumes per position. We interview the top 10 to 20%, voice to voice. Then we go through a testing process with each of those people. We test their internet speed, we test their typing skills, their English skills, their job skills. We even do what's called a DISC personality profile on each one of them. And I think that's actually one of the most important tests we do. And then we take the top people that come out of that, and we put them through another round of interviews with an executive member of our staff. And when I say that, I really mean my wife. She literally interviews every single VA that we place. And you need to make sure that if you're not hiring us or someone like us to do this for you, you need to go through this process. It's very important that you go through this process to make sure you're getting the right person, because bringing a person onto your team is a big deal, and you want to make sure that they're very likely. I mean, it's never 100%. You're never going to get it right every time, the first time. Sometimes you'll need to go through a couple of people to get to that right one, but you don't want to have to go through 40 people to get to that right one. You don't want to have to hire 40 people to keep one. If you have to hire 1, 2, maybe even 3 people to get the right person on your team, that's not that's not the end of the world, but try and minimize it as much as possible. And the way you minimize it is by doing a better job on the interview and testing process. All right, now the other option is you could hire a headhunter like us. And that's what we do at Virtual Assistant Staffing. We provide guaranteed results. We give you that free test drive, and by that, in fact, we haven't talked about that yet. Let me tell you what we're going to do. If you would like to test drive a virtual assistant absolutely free, just to see if they're the right fit for your team, go to bestvaonline.com. I'll give it to you again. It's bestvaonline.com. And that'll take you right to our page, and you can fill out the little form there, and we will literally let you test drive a virtual assistant absolutely free, and for a full week, by the way, so that you can make sure that they're the right fit for your team. Then we also have a proven system for finding, vetting, and hiring them. We offer flexible plans, manage payroll, taxes, resolve any issues. We actually act like a virtual HR department for our clients. So if you're having an issue with your VA or anything, we can get in there and we can help you deal with those, help resolve those issues up to and including replacing that person. But anyways, there's lots of ways to go about finding a virtual assistant. The real key is take the time to do it right, or pick a team, pick a headhunter who's going to do it right for you, because the people you hire are going to make or break your company, period. Hiring the right people will absolutely take your company to places you can never get it on your own. So make sure you're always hiring the right people. All right, so that's our one-week gift for you. So you're going to get a call from one of my virtual assistants when you fill out that form. We're going to go and dig deep into your needs. We'll shoot you our standard agreement, which protects your confidentiality and all that good stuff. We'll go search the world for you to find that perfect virtual assistant for you. That process usually takes about 2 weeks. And then we're going to let you test drive your virtual assistant for a full week, absolutely free. If you love them, keep them, and we'll begin billing you after that 1 week trial period. If you don't love them, no worries. We'll replace them for free, or you can just decide, I just don't want to have the VA at all, but thanks for the trial. Whatever you decide, that's fine. We're just here to serve you, and we just want to make sure that you're happy. Now, I'm going to give you another little tidbit. Hey, Caren, you've been to a lot of events. You talk to a lot of people. Do you ever get people giving you their business card at the events you go to?
Oh, yes, all the time.
Let me ask this.
We call it show up and throw up. They just give you the cards.
Say that again. I love that. You got to say that again really loud.
Okay, so we call it show up and throw up. When they show up at the networking events or whatever, I believe every opportunity is a networking opportunity, but they just show up and they throw up all over you with their cards. And they go, here, take my card. So, yeah.
You know what's really sad about that is I think there are actually still people out there that think that if they give you their card, they're going to get business out of it.
Yes, I know.
Here's the funny thing. How often do you give someone your card and actually get a call back from them?
Well, to be honest with you, Michael, that's why I don't carry cards. I don't give my cards out.
Perfect. That's exactly right, because nobody follows up anymore, right? People are terrible about follow-up. Well, let me tell you, I'm going to show you and everybody on the call here how to guarantee your success at every event. This is exactly what I do at every event. And I'm like you, Caren. I actually don't even carry business cards. So when I go to an event, I collect all, people always hand me their cards, and they want, all the people that want to talk to me, I'll get their business card. And then before I go to the airport to head home, I'll go down to the front desk of the hotel, and I'll hand them those business cards, and I'll ask them to scan them in and email them to me. So they scan them in, and they've never charged me for this. They always do it for free every time. I've never had anybody charge me for this. They scan them, they email them to me, and then I forward that email to my virtual assistant, who then inputs all those people into my client relationship management software. I use Infusionsoft, by the way. But once they're in Infusionsoft, then another one of my VAs calls and sets an appointment for me to speak with that person. So literally, every single person that I want to follow up with after that event, I get a phone call with them every single time. Man, let me tell you, if you just did that, Caren, if all a VA could do for you is ensure that you followed up with and got the chance to talk to all the people that you wanted to talk to after an event, what do you think that would do to your business?
Oh, it just ups your return rate, your ROI.
And, the scary thing is a lot of people go to events and they don't even think about ROI. They go to these events, and let me tell you, the events are great. I love live events because you learn a lot, and the education that you get there, that's fantastic. One of the things that I love as much or even more as the education is the networking opportunities that you get there. And that's how you put transactions together. That's how you put joint ventures together, and you do big, huge, great, awesome things with different people. And I got to tell you, that ROI doesn't happen at all if you don't follow up with them. So, gigantic. Well, you guys can do this. And I want you to know, rainmakers often suffer from this syndrome we call nobody can do it as well as me syndrome. And you got to get over that. My wife, bless her heart, had the toughest time. It took her a long, long, long time before she was willing and able to delegate things to an assistant, because she just felt like, well, nobody does it as well as me, so I have to do everything. That is a terrible attitude. And again, I'm not ranking on my wife. Love her to death. Smart woman. Very awesome. Just amazing in every way. But it took her years to learn that lesson. And I'm asking you, and I'm hoping for you, that you will learn that lesson today and not take that length of time to learn it. The sooner you can get past this, and the sooner you can realize that, look, if I can find somebody that can do things 75% as well as I can, I've got a victory on my hands. That's great, and if I can surround myself with people like that, I can build an amazing team around it and a great business around it. Now, the first thing you should do right now, as soon as this webinar is over, first you're going to go fill out that form on bestvaonline.com, and you're going to take advantage of the free trial. And by the way, we're extremely busy right now. We separate our time out. Our clients always get our time first. And then we have our new people that aren't clients of ours yet. We always take care of them after we've already taken care of our clients. And I'm sure once you're a client, you'll appreciate that as well. But so it may take, we take people on a first-come, first-served basis. So some of you I can already see have gone to the form because I've already got the notification here and filled that form out. But, it is on a first-come, first-served basis, and it can take up to 2 weeks for us to get a call scheduled with you. We try and get to everybody within the first 5 to 7 days, but if it does take 2 weeks, please be patient with that. But anyway, long story short, you're going to fill out that form. We're going to give you a call. We're going to set up an appointment to speak with you. And some of you will actually be speaking with me. Some of you will be speaking with my partner, Brian. But at the end of the day, once that's done, you need to go back to your office. You need to sit down with a pen and paper, and you need to write down every single thing you do all day long. And make this list. And the reason you're making this list, even if you're not going to hire a VA right now, even if you're just doing this for the sheer exercise of doing it, it will be tremendously valuable to your business. Write down a list of everything you do. And then highlight everything on that list that you could easily have somebody else do for you. Then go back and look at the rest of the stuff and analyze it and say, is this really stuff that needs to be done? or can I just get rid of it, or is there some other way I can accomplish it? And that way you can really narrow it down to only those things that you really should be doing. You can really increase your effectiveness in your business by doing this. All right. Now, once you have your VA, and by the way, I'm almost wrapped up here. I'm going to give you guys a chance. We're going to do some Q&A here in just about 2 minutes, so bear with me. I'm almost done. Just got a couple of things left. The training is critical. You know, the people that build the best organizations absolutely believe in training as a lifestyle, not as an act. Keller Williams, which is one of the largest real estate companies in the world right now, they will tell you that they are a training organization that sells real estate. And that is a great way to put it. I love that attitude. And you want to treat your business like that as well. And so I'll tell you, when you hire a virtual assistant, or anybody on your team for that matter, you need to make training a daily activity. I would recommend every morning that you do what's called a daily huddle. And the daily huddle is really easy. All it's got to be, you can do it over Skype or whatever. Skype is my favorite. But just get everybody together on Skype. Spend 15 to 20 minutes. You're going to talk to them about what got done yesterday, what needs to be done today, what the potential challenges are that might come up today. We're going to take some time to motivate, inspire, and direct the efforts of our troops, do a little training, maybe do some role playing and that kind of thing, and then wrap it up with a good motivational thought. I would do that every single day in your business, 5 days a week or however many work days you've chosen to work. I would do that every one of those days, because what happens is you begin to build a team of ninjas around you, and all of a sudden they are just rock stars at what they do, and you become obsolete. And that's exactly what you want. You want to make yourself obsolete in your business. You want to dial your business into such a level that everybody else can handle your business for you, and you can go to Europe for 6 weeks with your family and not touch the freaking phone, not touch your email, not call the office, and have your business grow while you're gone. You can do this. I know you can do this. You just have to decide that you want to do this. Once you've made the decision that you want to, then make the decision that you're going to and take action and go do it. All right, lots of great tools out there. Jing, Screencast, Skype, Dropbox. These are all great tools that you'll use with your VA. We'll help you with some of those as well. So for now, remember, go to bestvaonline.com and sign up for that free test drive of your new virtual assistant. You're going to get a full week, up to 40 hours on me. You're only going to pay if and when you feel like you've got the right VA on your team. Now, I got to be honest, I cannot guarantee that your first placement is going to be perfect. But what I can promise is that you're not going to be paying anything until you're 100% happy. I'm going to take 100% of the risk so that you don't have to. And if you'll hang in there with us, we will get you to the right virtual assistant and make sure that they're the right long-term fit for you. Our goal is to provide you with that right VA, take the majority of tasks off your plate, help you focus on money-generating activities so that you can work on your business and not in your business, get you to more profit, less expense, and more free time so you can do the things you really enjoy doing. As we do that, we're going to develop a long-term relationship with you and your team. And hopefully you, just like Caren, will become a raving fan, referring us to everyone you know. So pretty cool stuff. All right. Well, that being said, jump on bestvaonline.com and let's go to some questions and answers. Caren, did you have anything you wanted to jump in with right away?
No, I think I just want to underscore what you're saying, how important it is to take this first step and try it out. I was one of those people that thought that nobody could do it except for me. And it has been life-changing, business-changing, letting go of all that responsibility and bringing on people that can help you do what you need to do so that it frees you up to do the things that make you money. Simple as that.
Yeah. It's huge. And so let's jump to some questions. I see we've got some hands up, and so you can do a couple of things. You can raise your hand in the screen to the right, or you can type in your question, and we're going to jump in. We've got just enough time for a couple of quick questions here. So I'm going to go to Rick. I believe Rick has got his hand up, so I'm going to go ahead and call on him. Rick, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm in a seminar, but can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you yep, there you are. How are you, Rick?
I'm doing great, Michael. Thank you for all this great information today.
Oh, absolutely. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to be here with us, and especially you're at a live event. I really appreciate you taking that time out. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm with some of Karen's friends.
Well, tell me what's on your mind.
I probably am looking for. I actually tried to hire a VA locally. I live down in Ventura. And I tried to hire one a couple of months ago locally out of one of my networking organizations. And at the last minute, she had to bail before we even got started. The need that I was going to look for with that would be for keeping my social media and my website and my web presence going all the time. Do you have people that are adept at that, and would I have any problems finding one?
No, absolutely. We can definitely get you to people that can do that. That's very common, and that's not very expensive either. You can do that for as little as $7 an hour. So
Great.
very inexpensive. We can get you article writers that are really good. There's lots and lots of options there. So yeah, let's definitely be talking about that.
Great. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Rick. I appreciate you taking the time to be here and to add, and also taking the time to raise your hand and ask the question. Thank you very much. All right, so I just muted Rick out, and I'm going to go to, I've got a couple of typed questions here I want to hit real quick, too, that people have been asking. One is asking, Kimberly is asking, using a virtual assistant for sales calls, is that a good idea? Can they close the sale? Absolutely. Holy cow. I've got a couple of clients that call on local brick-and-mortar businesses. One in particular I'm thinking of that comes to mind does a lot with brick-and-mortar businesses like restaurants and those types of things. And he has a virtual assistant that he got through us that is calling on these restaurants, and he sells a text messaging platform. And his VA calls up. They contact the manager of the restaurant or the owner of the restaurant, and they literally take them from start to finish through the process and sell them on his text messaging platform. It's pretty cool. So yes, absolutely, there's some great closers out there, and apparently they get to drink coffee because, I don't know about you, but I've heard coffee's for closers, and if you know what that phrase is, then you're pretty serious about sales. Caren, do you remember that phrase?
I don't. So but I think I should. I'm going to have to go find out what that means.
Oh my gosh, Caren, you've been living under a rock. Caren. Oh, I love it. Thank you, Rick. You're right. That's Alec Baldwin said that. Caren, you've got to watch an old movie. It's called Glengarry Glen Ross. You got to go watch that movie. There's a couple of monologues in there that Alec Baldwin throws out that are just awesome. There's that one, and there's The Boiler Room is the other one that you want to watch. But yeah, that's one of my favorite monologues too, Rick. I love that freaking monologue.
So I have a question for you, Mike. In terms, if somebody wanted to hire a VA to do the calls, to close deals or maybe fill seats at an event, what kind of hourly rate do you think we're looking at?
It could be anywhere from $11 to $15 an hour, depending on what English level you want. So let's assume you want somebody with a heavier accent, then you'd be at $11 an hour. With a really minor accent, you'd be at $13. And with no accent or a really sexy British accent, you could go at $15 an hour. And that's all in. So you don't have any taxes, Social Security, Medicare. You don't have any other expenses on top of that. That's everything.
Got it. Cool.
So that's a really popular position. We fill a lot of telemarketing and appointment setting positions. That's very common. Our most common positions are probably bookkeeping, executive assistants, telemarketing, appointment setting, and web development design. And then I'd say the next one on the list would probably be article writers. So.
Okay.
Good questions. All right. Well, we are out of time, and I'm sorry we weren't able to get to all the questions, but I'll tell you what, definitely go to that page at bestvaonline.com, and we will make sure that we get you a one-on-one call with myself or with my partner Brian. One of the two of us will get with you as quickly as possible, and I know there's an awful lot of people on the webinar today, so it could take us a little while to get to you, but please know that we will get to you. I promise we will get to you, and we will make sure that we get your questions answered, and we'll get you that free test drive of a virtual assistant. And even if you're not ready quite yet, reach out to us, and let's get in contact with one another so that when the time is right for you, we can make something happen. And by the way, we're the no-pressure people. We're never going to pressure you into doing anything because, frankly, it wouldn't work well for us or for you if there was pressure involved. We want to make sure that you do this when it's right for you. So for now, reach out to us at bestvaonline.com, and we'll get connected. And with that, I'm going to turn the time over to Caren to close us up.
Awesome. Well, Michael, you are the best. I am sure that everyone who is on this webinar today can see the value of of trying it out and seeing how you can make your life a little bit easier. So I'm going to encourage all of our passionistas out there to pick up the, actually don't pick up the phone, we're online. Go to your internet, click on the browser and put in bestvaonline.com and try it out. What can it hurt? It's not going to hurt at all. And in fact, I am sure, without a doubt, it will help. I want to thank you, Michael, for being with us today. You are awesome. And I want to thank everyone who took time out of their busy day to join us, because I know that you have lots of things that you could choose to do. We are so honored that you chose to be with us today. So go on out and have an awesome day and give someone else an awesome day as well. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. And everybody, I echo what Caren said. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day, and I really look forward to meeting each and every one of you. So have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.